Notre Dame officials say tycoons who promised millions after the fire haven't paid a cent.
Here's a summary of the article.
The billionaire French tycoons who pledged hundreds of millions in financial aid to rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris have not yet paid a penny toward the restoration of the national monument, according to church and business officials. Instead, it's mainly American and French individuals, via Notre Dame charitable foundations, that are behind the first donations, paying the bills and salaries for up to 150 workers employed by Notre Dame since an April 15 fire devastated its roof and caused its masterpiece spire to collapse. It will be a simple service, Notre Dame's chief priest, Monseigneur Patrick Chauvet, told French broadcaster BFM TV. Attendees will include several Notre Dame priests along with selected journalists and camera operators, with the Mass to be broadcast on French television. The reality on the ground at Notre Dame is that work has been continuing around the clock for weeks and the cathedral has had to rely partly on the charity foundations to fund the first phase of reconstruction. The Friends of Notre Dame de Paris was founded in 2017 and its president, Michel Picard, estimates that 90% of the donations it had received had come from American donors. While the billionaire donors delay signing their checks, the workers at the cathedral face the epic task of cleaning up the lead poisoning that has become an issue for the Parisian island on which Notre Dame is located. Mr. Finot said this process would take months and would be paid for in part by the Friends of Notre Dame and other foundations.
This post received a score of 22,766, with an upvote ratio of 82%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
As the article says, the donations amount to over $1 billion. I don't think it would be responsible to just hand that check over without a real plan in place. I'm sorry, but it seems reasonable that they would want to see a plan in place for their funds. If the officials started laying out some plans and started asking for donations in increments, then that would be a hell of a start.
Greater than if the officials started laying out some plans and started asking for donations in increments, then that would be a hell of a start. That's what they were saying in the article too. People were waiting for the reconstruction to start with the intent of bidding on specific contracts. Instead of starting with a set budget, they'll be forced to write up contracts with companies to do certain work and hope someone picks up the bill. Right, no one is saying throw it out all at once. With most construction projects you pay in increments. It'd be reasonable to pay out 1/5 of what you promised to get shit started and pay as progress is made.
Even if you are paying in increments, you still have to plan the construction itself as if all those increments are going to be paid. Which they have no guarantee it will be when those payments depend on after-the-fact donations that may or may not materialize. The project plan is not incremental.
In the end, the French government will pay the bills if those donations aren't paid in full.
You don't plan a construction project without a budget. Which budget should they plan around? And even if they are dumb enough to plan around a non-existent budget, and the French government picks up those bills eventually, how long will the contractors have to float the cost before the bills actually get paid, even if they ever do? Do you think the French government will just pay any bill the contractors demand after the fact? A construction project requires an existing set of funds which are contractually obligated to be paid from at specific intervals during the construction. To say, well, maybe some billionaires will donate these payments, or maybe the French government will pick up these payments even though no contractual obligations exist to do so, is a fool's project. Anybody that's ever been involved in construction in any way knows it.
I wouldn't send a dime unless I saw a complete plan either.
Seriously, $1 million goes missing. It's a fucking fraction of a percent no one will ever notice, but in reality is massive money. Get your bids, get shit figured out. You're fucking Notre Dame with billionaires backing you. No one is going to question you if you can afford it, even if you don't have anything yet.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.